thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. I know you want to watch the video. Before I get into the content, I'm going to talk about my nonprofit, the Accelerated Training Program, a cybersecurity and digital literacy nonprofit based in Charlotte, North Carolina. We are looking to provide accessible cybersecurity education and digital literacy skills to underrepresented groups from the K through 12 space right now, but we have on our roadmap collegiate, elderly populations, etc. Pretty much anyone from an underrepresented group. We want them to get cybersecurity education and digital literacy skills to bring them into the ever increasing digital world that we live in now. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, we do have a donate button if you would like to donate monetarily. We're always accepting donations. If you would like to volunteer your time, we have a volunteer tab where we're looking for workshop volunteers. Currently, we have 1 month workshops, but we're looking to expand that in 2024. Board members, advisory board members, and a grant writer. So if you're a grant writer, if you have experience in grant writing and also winning grants, we would definitely love to have you on our team. To be considered, please complete the volunteer form here, which is a link that will navigate you to a Google form. And again, we're a cybersecurity, digital literacy nonprofit, and we would love to work with you if that is your passion as well. Thank you. Have a good day. And now the video is going to start. Hello, and welcome to another Advent of Cyber video. As I stated before, I will be doing some of these rooms out of order, like this one. Day 6, Memory Corruption, Memories of Christmas Past. So let's start the machine. Okay. So let's read the story. We're not going to look at the walkthrough. Throughout the merger, we have detected some worrying coding practices from the South Pole elves. To ensure their code is up to our standards, some frostlings from the South Pole will undergo a quick training session about memory corruption vulnerabilities, all courtesy of the B team. Welcome to the training. So the learning objectives: understand how specific languages may not handle memory safely, understand how variables might overflow into adjacent memory and corrupt it, exploit a sample buffer overflow to directly change memory you are not supposed to access. So in this video, we're going to have the VM and we're going to have a direct link. So we need to wait till we get our IP address. And that will be in 11 seconds. Okay, so now our IP address is 10.10.197.168. Okay, so we can actually go here. So, okay, and we see we can look at the debug panel and with the tab, space to speak, and backspace to reset inventory. Okay, so let's the space. Okay, to finish the game, all you need to do is to get a star to put upon your Christmas tree. After you get the star, just interact with the Christmas tree, and that's it. You are free to buy as many additional ornaments as you can carry to customize your tree. Okay, now let's go. The game. In this game, you play as cat or mouse. Your objective is to save Christmas by buying the star from your Christmas tree from Van Frosty. In addition to the star, you can buy as many ornaments as you can carry to decorate your tree. To gain money to buy things, you can use the computer to do online freelance programming jobs. You can also speak to Van Holly to change your name for a fee of 1 coin per character. He says that this is totally not a scam. He will actually start calling you by your new name. He is, after all, into identity management. Is this a bug? Before the training even starts, Vanjali approaches Meg Honeybell and says that they've been observing some weird behaviors while playing the game. They think the ghost of Christmas past is haunting it. No. Meg Honeybell asks them to reproduce what they saw. Vanjali boots up the game and does the following, which you are free to replicate. Use the computer until you get 13 coins. So let's go here. We have 1 coin, so keep hitting space. And I think we need to get 13. So keep hitting space, keep hitting, and I'm hitting the space bar. Okay, so we have 13 coins. Ask Van Holly to change your name to Scrooge Rocks. So this is him. Okay. And now we have 33 coins. Van Holly explains that when you change your name to anything large enough, the game goes nuts. Sometimes you'll get random items in your inventory, or your coins just disappear. Even the dialogues can stop working and show random gibberish. This must surely be the work of magic. McHoneybell doesn't look convinced. After some thinking, she seems to know what this is all about. Memory corruption. Remember that whenever we execute a program, including this game, all data will be processed somehow through the computer's RAM, random access memory. In this video game, your coin count, inventory, position, movement speed, and direction are all stored somewhere in the memory and updated as needed as the game goes on. So the green is the position Y, the blue is the position X, the coins is here, and then this is like the random. Usually, each variable stored in memory can only be manipulated in specific ways as the developers intended. For example, you should only be able to modify your coins by working on the PC or by spending money either in the store or by changing your name. In a well-programmed game, you shouldn't be able to influence your coins in any other way. But what happens if you can indirectly change the contents of the memory space that holds the coin count? What if the game had a flaw that allows you to overwrite pieces of memory you are not supposed to? Memory corruption vulnerabilities will allow you to do that and much more. Honeybell says a debugger would be needed to check the memory contents while the game runs. On hearing that, Van Sprinkles says they programmed a debugging panel into the game that does exactly that. This will make it easier for us. Okay, so accessing the debug panel. While they were developing this game, the Frostlings added debugging functionality to watch the memory layout of some of the game's variables. They did this because they couldn't understand why the game was suddenly crashing or behaving strangely. To access this hidden memory monitor, just press tab. So tab, what do you know? Here it goes, right here. Okay, you can press tab repeatedly to cycle through two different views of the debugging interface. ASCII view. The memory contents would be shown in ASCII encoding. It is useful when trying to read data stored as strings. Hex view. The memory contents would be shown in hex. This is useful for cases where the data you are trying to monitor is a raw number or other data that can't be represented as ASCII strings. And you might hear my son because he is looking for his sister. Okay. So here's the ASCII view. You can see the actual text and then the hex representative here. Viewing the contents in RAM will prove helpful for understanding how memory corruption occurs. So be sure to check the debug panel for each action you make in the game. Remember, you can always hide the debug panel by pressing tab until it closes. Investigating the Scrooge Rocks case. Armed with the debugging panel, McHoneybell starts the lesson. As a first step, she asks you to restart the game. Refreshing the website will work. So let's do that. Space. Okay, so we know we got to do all that. Okay. And open the debug interface in hex mode. Okay, so I press tab twice. The Frostlings have labeled each of the variables stored in memory, making it easy to trace them. McHoneybell wants you to focus your attention on the coins variable. Go to the computer and generate a coin. As expected, you should see the coin count increase in the user interface and the debug panel simultaneously. We now know where the coin count is stored. McHoneybell then points out that right before the coin's memory space, we have the player name variable. She also notes that the player name variable only has room to accommodate 12 bytes of information. Okay, so let's... Okay, so this is coins. Oh, I don't think... See? 2, 2. Okay. So then player name has 12 bytes here. So you can see the gray. So these gray is for player name. Okay. But why does this matter at all? Asks a confused Van Tweakle. Because if you try to change your name to Scrooge Rocks, you will be using 13 characters, which amounts to 13 bytes, replies McHoneybell. Van Tweakle, still perplexed, interrupts. So what would happen with that extra byte at the end? McHoneybell says it will overflow to the first byte of the coin's variable. To prove this point, McHoneybell proposes replicating the same experiment, but this time we get 13 coins and change our name to 4 A's, 4 B's, 4 C's, and an X. Meanwhile, we keep our eyes on the debug panel. Let's try this in our game and see what happens. Okay, so let me go, because we need to get 14. And you'll notice that the coin is changing. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, and you see this is in hex. Okay, so let's change our name. Okay, so AAA, BBB, CCC, X. Because I think that's what it said, right? Yep. Enter. Now you notice we have 120 coins, and that matches because 78 hex is 120 decimal. Okay. All of a sudden we have 120 coins. The memory space of coins now holds 78. Remember that 78 in hexadecimal equals 120 in decimal. To make this even clearer, let's switch to the debug panel in ASCII mode. So here we go. So you see our X went to the coins. Okay. The ASCII hexadecimal value for X is 78, so the coin value was changed to hexadecimal 78 or 120 in decimal representation. Remember, hexadecimal is base 16, decimal is base 10. As you can see, McHoneybell's predictions were correct. The game doesn't check if the player name variable has enough space to store the new name. Instead, it keeps writing to adjacent memory, overriding the values of other variables. This vulnerability is known as a buffer overflow and can be used to corrupt memory right next to the vulnerable variable. Buffer overflows occur in some programming languages, mostly C and C++. Why would you even use this? Where the variable's boundaries aren't strict. If programmers don't check the boundaries themselves, it's possible to abuse a variable to read or write memory beyond the space initially reserved for it. Our game is written in C++. Lovely. Strings in more detail. By now, the Frostlings look baffled. It never occurred to them that they should check the size of a variable before writing to it. Van Tweakle has another question. When the game started, the main character's name was Cat or Mouse, which only uses 10 characters. How does the game know the length of a string if no boundary checks are performed on the variable? To explain this, McHoneybell asks us to do the following. Restart the game. Okay, so let's refresh. I want to refresh. Okay, and it says get 3 coins. And change our name to Elf. Okay, we're going to change it to Elf. And I started the debug in ASCII, Elf. Okay, there you go. Here's our new name. Okay, so the memory layout should look like this. So we have a 0 for our coin. When the strings are written to memory, each character is written in order, taking 1 byte each. A null character, represented in our game by a red 0, is also concatenated at the end of the string. A null character is simply a byte with the value 00, hex 00, which can be seen by changing the debug value to hex mode. So let's do that. And we see right there, it's 00. Okay. When reading a variable as a string, the game will stop at the first null character it finds. This allows programmers to store smaller strings into variables with larger capacities. Any character appearing after the null byte is ignored, even if it has a value. Okay, so to explain it better, we're going to get 16 coins and then do 4 A's, 4 B's, 4 C's, and 4 D's. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Okay. So let's do that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, you notice it says PC broken. Okay. So now let's change it. AAA, BB, BBB, CCC, DDD. Enter. What do you know? We have this amount of coin. Because look, it's 44, 44, 44, 44. So that would be the D's. A, B, C, D. So the coins was written D, 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 or 44, 44, 44 in hex. Yep. Okay. Now your memory layout should look like this. Notice how the game adds a null character after your 16 bytes, which overwrites the shop K name variable. If you talk to the shopkeeper, you should see his name is empty. Okay, so if we go here. Yep, his name is empty. Okay, so we see the star here. So let's say D. So that will be inventory items. So you see, it didn't give us a D, it gave us an E. And it said, hey, you are not supposed to have that kind of money. And we say, I earned each coin fair and square-ish. Now give me my star. The game is supposed to be unwinnable, you know. Here, I'll cut you a deal. I'll give you a much cooler item for the same price. So I also want to make notice, here is our inventory. We have an ornament, which corresponds to this one. And then we have this, which corresponds to our E. Okay. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Advent of Cyber. Because I closed it. Okay. Okay. Let's go. So where are we? Okay. This happens because the game reads from the start of the variable up to the first null byte, which appears in the first byte in our example. Therefore, this is equivalent to having an empty string. On the other hand, if you talk to Van Holly, you should see your own name is now 4 A's, 4 B's, 4 C's, 4 D's, which is 16 characters long. Since C++ doesn't check variable boundaries, it reads your name from the start of the player name variable to the first null byte it finds. That's why your name is now 16 characters long, even though the player name variable should only fit 12. Part of your name now overlaps with the coin variable, so if you spend some money in the shop, your visible name will also change. Buy some items and see what happens. Okay, so integers and coins. So let's try to buy something else. Okay, so our red ball was a 1, so let's do a green ball. So now we have a 2. And look, our name is changing right in front of our eyes. Okay. We're going to say a 3. That's going to be a mushroom. Okay. So you see our inventory items. Okay. Van Tweakle mistyped the name during the previous experiment and ended with 4 A's, 4 B's, 4 C's, D, E, F, G. Then they noticed they had this amount of coins in the upper right corner, shown as follows in the debug panel. Out of curiosity, they used an online tool, so let's open this, that converts hexadecimal to decimal numbers to check if the hexadecimal value from the debug panel matched their coin count. To their surprise, the numbers were different. McHoneybill explains that integers in C++ are stored in a particular way in memory. First, integers have a fixed memory space of 4 bytes, as shown in the debug panel. Secondly, an integer bytes are stored in reverse order in most desktop machines. This is known as little endian byte order. Let's use an example to understand this better. If you take your current count of this and convert that number to hex, you will obtain 47, 46, 45, 44, corresponding to what's shown by the debug panel, but backwards. How many coins would you have if the hex value number of the coins variable was shown in memory as follows? Okay, so it's backwards, so it should be 40. So we're going to go 40, 47, 46, 45, 44. Yep, and it matches that. Okay. So, how many coins would you have if the hex value of the coins variables was shown in memory as follows? Input your answer at the end of the task. So that would be 53, 50, 4F, 4F. So it will be this value. So let's see if that's correct. Paste. Yep. Okay. Okay. Winning the game. McHoneybill is about to wrap up the lesson and call it a day. But first, she explains how an attacker could now overwrite any value to the coins variable and have enough to buy the star and finish the game. On hearing this, McGreedy starts laughing manically and tells McHoneybill they rigged the game so nobody can win. McHoneybill is more than welcome to try to purchase a star, McGreedy says. Confused, McHoneybill does some quick calculations and concludes she should be able to get enough coins. She looks at you and asks you to show how the vulnerability can be exploited. You notice that she looks a little doubtful, but still, it's now up to you to win the game. Can you get a star in your inventory and prove McGreedy wrong? Well, let's do it. Okay. So, we notice, I'm going to do it again. So we have the points, right? But if I try to do D, it says, hey, you're not supposed to have that kind of money, and it puts an E here. So, what happens? Oh, and we could do backspace to get rid of our inventory. So what happens if we overwrite all of these values and then put a D in our inventory value? Because we're trying to get a star, and that's D. Okay, so let's say AAA, BBB, CCC, DDD, EEE, FFF, GGG, and let's see how far that goes. Okay, so we're not there because we're still in the shop. So we gotta keep going. And we see his name is EEE, FFF, GGG because that's what's in the shop name. Okay, so we're gonna say a 1. Okay, and it says, thank you for your purchase. So now let's go here and we need to do some more. Okay, so let's say AAA, BBB, CCC, DDD, EEE, FFF, GGG, HHH, III, JJJ. And I'm doing this because I want to make it easy, recognizable. Okay, close. Okay, because we see we're in the namer name, but we're still not in inventory. So let's try this again. So let's go AAA, BBB, CCC, DDD, EEE, FFF, GGG, HHH, III, JJJ, KKK. Okay. So now we see we've overwritten everything, but we've overwritten the player name, coin, shop name, namer name, and the inventory items are now 0 because of here. So now let's add a lowercase d at the end. And let's see what we get. Oh, what do you know? We have a star. So, because we knew our star, okay, so let's go here. The star is a lowercase d. So if we say a lowercase d, saying, hey, you're not supposed to have that kind of money, okay, and it gives us E. But now we have a star. So let's talk to the tree. Okay. Oh, look, we got the star. Okay. Okay, McHoneybill is the real star. Okay. So we have only explored the surface of buffer overflows in this task. Buffer overflows are the basis of many public exploits and can even be used to gain complete control of a machine. If you want to explore this subject more in depth, feel free to check out the buffer overflows room. Vanjali still thinks the ghost of Christmas Past is in the game. She says she has seen it with her own eyes. She thinks the ghost is hiding in a glitch, whatever that means. What could she have seen? We don't know yet. Okay, so let me recap. Okay, so when trying to go to the actual store to purchase a star, we have enough points because we overwritten the our buffer. So now we have an assortment of points. We have an overflow of points. So overflow of coins, excuse me. So we should be able to purchase. Okay, that's not. So let me do this again. D. But it's saying, hey, you're not supposed to have that kind of money. This is supposed to be unwinnable. So now it's like, okay, we know when we try to put in a D, we get an E. So then what we did, it was like, okay, so we were able to overwrite the player name and coins. Let's try to overwrite all of the other variables until we get to inventory name. So that's what we did. We did A's, B's, C's, D's, and we got first started at G, at the end of G. We noticed we wasn't at the inventory item, so then we add on H, I, J, and K, and then we realized we was at the cusp of the inventory items, so then we did it again, and at the end of the K, we added D because that was the item for a star. And by doing that, we added a star into our inventory, and that's how we was able to get it. So we essentially overflowed the buffer to give us our star. Again, I hope you learned something in this video. Buffer overflows are not my jam, but they're fun and interesting to look at and do to see how you can manipulate data to get unexpected results. So I can't wait to see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.